5G signal. Do you have it where you live yet? And by do you have it, I mean, do you have enough of it that you're considering purchasing a 5G phone? If you are, listen up, because you don't have to pay thousands of dollars or more to get a great 5G device. I'm gonna take you through 3 of them, and by the end, you'll know which one's for you. Let's go. Hey, if any of these videos have helped you, if this one has already helped you, and I don't doubt that it may have, please hit us with that thumbs up, hit us with that subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when we upload the latest content. Before we begin, I just want to let you know that you can find in-depth reviews of each of these devices on this channel if you check out my playlist. We'll link to that in the description, or you can click the link up there. Now, let's begin with specs and user experience. Since this is a look at 5G phones, that's where we'll begin. With our travel and daily comings and goings limited right now, I wasn't able to thoroughly put the phones through their paces out and about in the wild like normal, but each device pulled down great speeds for me here in Metro Los Angeles. You need to know that both the A71 and Velvet have Qualcomm Snapdragon 765 chipsets, which support 3 spectrums of 5G, compared to the OnePlus 8, which has the faster 865 chipset, which supports up to 5 spectrums of 5G. What that means for you in practice is that on networks that are still ramping up their 5G connectivity, you may experience slower 5G speeds on the A71 and Velvet than you would on the OnePlus 8. So, for overall 5G connectivity, theoretically, the OnePlus 8 is your winner for this roundup. The user experience on the 3 devices is an interesting mix of specs. Both the Velvet and A71 sport a 60 Hz refresh rate, while the OnePlus 8's screen runs at 90 Hz. Of the 3, the latter 2 are your most fluid experience, even though the OnePlus has a higher refresh rate. I said it in my full review of the A71, Samsung has done an outstanding job of working through One UI to give this phone a fluidity which punches well above its specs. It is just a joy in daily use. But it is no clear winner over the OnePlus 8 in that regard. Oxygen OS is one of my favorite user experiences on Android, and moving between camera modes, menus, and scrolling through screens is a top-notch experience. Now, none of that is to say that the experience on the Velvet is bad or subpar, but once you've used a 90 or 120 Hz phone, or in the case of the A71, a phone which feels like it's running at those rates, using a 60 Hz phone is a noticeable difference. You know what else is a noticeable difference? Customization experiences on the devices. Samsung has a veritable cornucopia of options for themes and always on display images, different icon packs. Clearly, the Samsung store wins for depth of content in this roundup, but in terms of the actual customization features, the OnePlus 8 and the Velvet actually have a few more options for levels of customization than the A71. Now, let's talk movie and YouTube watching. The Velvet had the brightest reproduction of content on Netflix as I watched my Witcher scene, with the OnePlus being the darkest. The mix of brightness and color depth and detail on the A71 provided me with the most satisfying viewing experience of the 3 displays. But as with so many things when it comes to tech, there's no perfect gadget or solution. Everything comes with a trade-off. The superior sound experiences were found in the Velvet and the OnePlus, both of which come with a front-firing speaker grille which throws sound directly at you and allows for the creation of a fuller stereo image, which ultimately means that the listening experience is more robust on both devices, much more immersive. No clear winner between the two, as actually they both sound great, which then brings me to this question. How you most often listen to your movies and videos is going to determine which one of these you buy. If you're generally using some sort of earbud or headphone, then display is going to be most important in terms of my findings. If you're often listening to the phone itself or to toss up, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, then you're going to want the best mix of bright, rich display and immersive sound. If that's the case, then the Velvet comes out ahead in this category. Unless you're heavy into anime and gaming, when watching Urbance, brightness was indeed a non-issue. CGI-based content fares better across all devices, and the OnePlus 8 has the high-end Snapdragon 865 processor with the better graphics processor as well. So if you're a mobile gamer and aren't plugged into headphones all the time, the OnePlus 8 is probably going to be your choice when it comes to media and gaming, display and sound. And if you're going to be watching all of those movies and playing video games for hours, you're going to need a device which can go the distance. The award for largest battery in this roundup goes to the A71 with a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, while the other two pack 4,300 milliamp hour batteries. All three of these phones saw very solid battery use in my testing, so there's no outright winner. That said, the only phone which supports wireless charging in this roundup is the Velvet. And at these price points between $600 and $700, I absolutely think wireless charging should be included in the spec. From all three phones, you can expect all-day performance, and all three support rapid charging, with the A71 and the Velvet supporting 25-watt rapid charging. The OnePlus 8 supports their Warp 30T, which is 30-watt rapid charging. Now, one thing I'm always telling people is that when buying a new phone, you need to buy a phone which comes with the most amount of storage you can afford. That advice generally applies to iPhones for the most part, but sometimes you run into an Android device for which that holds true as well. In this roundup, both the A71 and the Velvet feature removable storage, 1 and 2 terabytes respectively, but the OnePlus 8 does not. The good news is it starts at 128 gigabytes of storage, and you can go up from there to 256 gigabytes of storage, but you're gonna pay $100 more for the privilege. In the area of storage, the Velvet and A71 are the winners if you're a heavy video and photo taker. And let's end this battle with a look at the cameras. I'm gonna say up front that in multiple reviews of multiple Samsung devices, their cameras have generally come out on top. That is, they are all around the most competent shooters, even though sometimes in some head-to-heads, they may have some soft spots. Not in this case though. Samsung's A71 was the best all-around camera between these three devices, with the OnePlus coming in second and the Velvet coming in last. In optimum conditions, they all take beautiful images, but the devil's in the details, and it was when these cameras were faced with scenarios which would have images blown out and overexposed, or those pesky reds with no detail, that the true test came in. Let's start off with the front-facing shooters. Best front-facing shooter goes to OnePlus for warmer colors, but that's really a preferential thing. The A71 did just as good a job with detail and handling hot spots. As you can see, with all three photos up, those hot areas of the photos, the places where the light makes the image look blown out, are handled quite well with the A71 and OnePlus 8. Not so much with the Velvet. Overall, the OnePlus 8 only slightly edges out the A71 for rear camera picture quality. They both handle loud colors pretty much the same, and in great light, the images are hard to tell apart. I give a slight edge to the A71 because that sensor and software does so well with handling troublesome issues like hard light. But it's also night mode which puts it ahead. Now, they all do relatively well in night mode, but Samsung did the best with keeping darker areas of the photos low noise, as you can see in this photo. When there's a bit of light in the photos, things go all right, but it's the details in the darker areas of the photos where the sore spots show up. Now, when I began this review, I thought the Velvet would be the one I'd pick for overall best device out of the three. You know, with its ability to use the dual screen and an active pen, but buying that dual screen accessory and the pen will run you at least an additional $250 over the $600 retail price, placing it at an even higher price point than the OnePlus 8 and putting you into LG V60 territory. And if you're gonna pay $850 to get the Velvet and the dual screen and a $50 active pen, I'd tell you to just bump up and go to the V60 dual screen with that same $50 pen purchase. So my recommendation at the end, if you are a serious multitasker and can find the Velvet for a decent deal, then I would definitely take a look at that and get the dual screen. That's the one for you, the multitasker. Gamers, the OnePlus 8 is going to be the phone for you. It's going to be the one that has the fastest processor in this roundup. It's going to look fantastic. It's going to sound amazing. For those of you looking for a fantastic front-facing camera and rear-facing camera, in other words, photography is most important to you. Maybe you're a social media maven or really interested in photography and want to begin to learn using your phone in pro mode so you can get used to ISO and f-stops and white balance. The A71 is your phone. And that is that. So the gamer, the multitasker, the photographer, we've got you covered with all the phones that are going to be the ones for you. We have one that is coming up soon that we'll be taking a look at that actually will fall in line potentially with these three phones in terms of comparison, and that is Google's Pixel 4a. We'll have that in our hands soon, and we'll bring that to you, our thoughts as soon as we get it. If you want to know more about price and rate plans, all the other services that will go with these phones, if you're interested in picking them up, go ahead and head over to reviews.org, where our researchers and writers have done a great job putting all that information out there for you. If you have any questions about any of these three devices, the OnePlus 8, the LG Velvet, or Samsung's A71 5G, please leave them in the comments below. I'll get to them. As always, we don't take it lightly that you've watched with us. Thank you for watching Reviews.org. I'm Tshaka Armstrong. We'll catch you on the next video.